Hi everybody, day 29 of shelter. It's a Friday afternoon and I'm about to head indoors to go and colour my grey right out of my hair and to start relaxing and actually enjoying our weekend as family. I thought to continue with navigating emotions, but to speak specifically around navigating nerves. And what would navigating nerves look like? Well, the feeling that comes with nerves is often anxiousness. And I want to relate a story that I experienced in my own life around anxiousness. And it's really interesting because I don't use that word very often for my own world. In fact, I very seldom feel like I feel anxious. However, I became quite aware. I had a huge project that I was working on. In fact, a number of projects that I was working on. And I found that I was sitting in front of the computer doing creative work, preparing the PowerPoint, and at some point I realized that I had gone into self-doubt, and I started doubting whether I could even do this. And my mind started going into all sorts of places that was starting to discount my ability to be able to actually show up and deliver. And at some point, I became aware of where my thoughts had gone. And I remember becoming an observer of my thoughts and checking in with, Sharon, what's going on with you? You know, you do this work all the time. You are an expert in your field. What on earth is this self-doubt about? And I realized that I had been sitting in front of my computer and not being mindful of what was going on. And I had started saying to myself, you can't do this. You can't do this. You're not good enough. And it kept on, those old tape recorders started playing. And what happened was, the more I said those things to myself subconsciously, the more anxious I actually became. And of course, with that, I started spiraling out. My creativity went out the door. I felt really, really stuck. And thank God for the work that I do, because I was able to say, whew, Sharon, hold on, what's going on here? Check in with your emotions, you know, what is actually happening with you? So I went into validating what I was feeling, and I validated the fact that I was tired. I validated my anxiousness, my thoughts that were creating it, the self-doubt that had stepped in. And I was able then to sort of explore the feeling and understand, obviously, because of the thoughts, what was driving my emotions and how I was sort of almost getting myself out of control because of the anxiety, ruminating and going into spaces that weren't helpful. And then I grabbed hold of all the tools that I have. I named the emotion. I validated it first and foremost by settling the emotion, because we say we name it to tame it. So that settled that. I was able to understand why I was actually getting this emotion. And by exploring it, I was then able to actually transform it. And I realized that I could shift what I was feeling around the not being able to. And I remembered at the time that I felt like I kept on saying, you've taken on too much, you've taken on too much, you're tired, you're exhausted, you can't do this. And all of a sudden I thought, hold on, but what a wonderful opportunity. I'm so excited about this work. I mean, I've been doing this work all my life, and being able to transform lives is actually what sets my world on fire. So all I did was I reframed and I changed the way that I saw what I was feeling, and all of a sudden I was able to transform my emotion. So all of a sudden it went from this exhausted, anxious, tired, not being able to mode, to kicking into, oh my Lord, I am actually so excited about this. I am so well prepared for this. This is the work I've been waiting for all my life, you know. And all I actually needed was to become aware in the moment, by stepping back and observing what was going on with me. And so often we need to step back from our thoughts and actually observe our thoughts. So you can't think what you're thinking when you're thinking the thought. You have to step back and observe what you're thinking so that you can be aware of what you're thinking. I hope that's quite clear. You can't do the same. You can't think and observe at the same time. So it's to step back and observe, and then step back and say, okay, I can see exactly what's going on here. I can transform that. And that is the responsibility we have around emotions like anxiousness that take us to places where we ruminate, tell ourselves stories, and it's our responsibility to halt, observe, validate the emotion, transform the thinking, and then of course the emotion will come along with that. So I hope that's useful, just as a little bit of a tidbit. I know it's still navigating emotions, but I thought to zone in specifically on an area around anxiousness, because I know anxiousness often has to do with self-doubt and the rumination and the stories we tell ourselves that actually flow on from that. So I hope that's helpful to somebody that might be battling in this area and could stop and talk themselves through that. See you tomorrow.